Hello Wingspan families, welcome to Lego class. My name's Eleanor and today we're going to be building Lego castles. This video is divided into 4 sections: base, portcullis gate, walls and catapult. If you already have a big green baseboard or something like that, you can skip the base section and move straight to portcullis gate. As you move through the video, you should try and build what you're building to match each section before you go on to the next section. I'll see you at the end of the video. Good luck with your building. We will need a base to start with. If you have a big green board, definitely use that. If you don't have a big green board and you have to make your own base, I'm going to show one way to approach that. I found these 4 pieces and I'm going to put them together to make this shape. I'm thinking this could be the front of my castle. We're going to have walls around the edges of the castle. Now, in order to hold them all together, I'm going to put plates that connect the boards. Now, this doesn't, but you'll see in a minute why we're going to need it. Here's a plate that will connect these ones. And here's a plate that will connect this and this. And here's a plate to connect over here at the back. And now what I'm doing is I'm making sure that the plates connect the big boards in as many places as possible, while also making the whole edge of our board go up to the same level. Right, see that's not connected there yet, so we have to make sure it gets connected on the next step. Let's see, here we go. So now everything is connected. It's a bit weak over there, but we'll make sure when we put bricks on that we hold things together better over there. So here's my example. We have an even layer around the whole edge because this is where the base of our walls are going to be, and if we build our walls on uneven surface, they won't be solid. Now, I know I said we needed an area around the edge of our base that was 2 studs wide in order to support the walls, but actually at the front of our castle, wherever you're deciding to put the entrance, you're going to need a raised up area that's a bit bigger than that in order to allow for our doorway. We're going to make a doorway with a portcullis gate, which is one of those fence-like gates that falls down to stop people from coming in. What you're going to need for your portcullis gate is going to be 5 studs wide and 10 studs long. You know, and if you have a bit of extra space on each side, that's probably useful. And for your portcullis gate, you're going to need to find 5 pieces, 5 plates that are 6 studs long and 1 stud wide. It's okay if 1 or 2 of them are tiles or flat with no studs, but at least 3 of them have to have a row of 6 studs. Now, we don't need them just yet, but you will need them when we get further on this. The other thing you're going to need to collect a bunch of before you start is square bricks, 2 by 2 bricks. And you're going to need a bunch of them for the portcullis gate and also later on for the top of your castle walls. So collect as many as you can, and we're going to use some now, and the ones that we don't use them when you're building your castle wall. Leave them to one side because at the end we're going to use them at the top of the wall. So for our portcullis gate, we're going to take 2 of these and we're going to say, like, I want my entrance to be right here. This is my doorway. My doorway is going to be 4 studs wide, so I'm going to put these 2 bricks down with 4 studs between them. Now, because it's a portcullis gate, it's a bit different than usual, so we're going to take another 2 bricks and we're going to stick them down just behind the first 2 bricks with a 1 stud wide gap in between. And that's going to be the slot that the gate slides up and down in. Now, we're going to want walls on either side, and those walls are going to stick in. So you see, we just want this one by one brick gap that is going to be where the gate slides up and down. So we want to fill it in the middle on the outsides with these thin bricks, And then we want square bricks on either side. So basically you're going to repeat that pattern until you're 6 bricks high. So like I'm doing my front one stripy so that you can easily count how high I'm going. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I've run out of stripes. 6. And then I'm going to make the stacks on the back be the same. And now I'm going to start filling up the sides. Like this. Oop. And there we have it. Now we're 6 studs high, and if you have an arch brick, now is a great time to use it. You can stick it right on front like this. If you don't have an arch brick, just use a regular brick. Now at this point what we want to do is we want to make a box shape. If you have a long enough brick to cross the whole way across the back, that would be a very good place to use it. If you don't, find 2 shorter bricks and just make sure they meet in the middle. So now you have a box shape on top and you have a slit going all the way down to the bottom of your doorway. Now we're going to look at the actual portcullis gate for a second. You want to take 3 of these pieces. Actually, sorry. We want to take 2 of these pieces, and they're going to be the up and down pieces. And then we're going to take 3 cross pieces like this. Okay, so this is our portcullis gate. It looks a little bit uneven. You might think that really you should put another back piece here, but you won't see that whenever we drop it into the slot. So now I'm going to drop mine into the slot, and you can see how it can slide up and down. It's a little bit fiddly, and there's different ways we can work on raising it. We'll get to that in a minute. If your gate does not fit into the slot properly, doesn't slide properly, it's probably because it's a little bit at an angle, and you just need to straighten it out and make all the angles square. And then it should fit in much better. Okay, so I've taken the gate out and put it to one side for a minute or two, and now we're going to build up higher on our gate tower. Since you put these pieces around the edge, you have these little spaces in here at each corner, and if you can find 4 1x1 bricks, use them to fill in those gaps. If you can't find anything that fits those spaces, don't worry. Just leave those gaps empty. At the back here, remember I used 2 bricks rather than 1 big long brick. And so we're going to find a short brick, a 1x4, just to hold those bricks together to make them more solid. Now, on all 4 corners, we're going to continue our towers of 2x2 square bricks. And we're going to go 3 bricks higher. So 1, 2, 3 on each corner. And we're not going to fill in the sides anymore. These walls that are sticking out at the sides, we're done with those. Those are as high as they need to be. Now, once we have our corner towers up to this height, then again we're going to make a kind of box around the edge. So if you have a 1x8 brick, that's great because it stretches the whole way across. And then you could use 2 1x4 bricks along the sides and a 1x6 brick across the back. But whatever combination of bricks you can do that will make a solid rectangle around the edge of this shape. Now, the reason I took the gate away for a while was because I was tying a piece of thread to the top of the gate. And the other end of the piece of thread is tied through a hole in a Lego Technic brick. Any brick that has a hole in it, or a plate that has a handle sticking off it, anything, you know, that you can tie the string to will work, as long as it then is able to stick down onto studs somewhere. And now what we do is we take the gate and we're going to, oh, I was going to slide it back in, you see, but it's not straight anymore. I have to straighten it again. And now it should slide. Yep, there we go. So now the gate slides in and you can pull it up and down using the string. And if you want it to be up, then you just need to stick your brick onto something. You might need to adjust the length of your string so that your brick can stick in a place that holds the gate exactly how you want it. And then when you want it to be totally down, you just stick your brick up here on top of the tower. And that is how you make a portcullis gate. And that system with the string and the brick is how Lego, in Lego kits in the 1980s, made portcullis gates work. So now it's time to build the walls on our castle. As you can, this is me building the walls on my castle. You can use bricks that are 2 studs wide or 1 stud wide, whatever bricks you have. You can see at the back, I've turned one of my walls into a 1 stud wide wall so that I can use more bricks. 2 studs wide gives you a solider wall. As you're building your walls, try to make sure not to stack the bricks, but to overlap them so that the wall does not fall down too easily. And try and make your walls be at least 5 bricks high, 6 bricks, so that they are taller than a Lego minifigure. Now, my castle has changed because I moved from one location to another between this video and the last one. But you can see it's a different shape, but everybody's castles will be different shapes. It still has the portcullis at the front and the walls around the edge that we've built that are all the same height. Mine are 6 blocks high. Now, what we want to do is make a ledge along the top of the wall, which is like where the soldiers could walk along to look over the wall and see who's going to attack the castle. So what you want is a lot of flat pieces, preferably ones that are 4 studs wide. In some places you might end up using ones that are 2 studs wide. And we're going to stick them on so that in most places we'll want them to stick out a little bit from the wall. So like if I put this piece on here, it sticks out by 1 stud on both walls. And then I think this piece could go here. And now, okay, so over here, that gives me an awkward gap. Maybe what I want to do, there we go. It can be a little bit uneven in places. That's okay. But like I say, what you're aiming for is that as you go around the wall, your ledge will stick out by 1 stud. I'm going to have a look over here. Now this one's too long. This one's too short. So let's see. You know what? I'm going to use a much shorter one. There we go. And then turn the corner. Okay, very good. Now, and you see the way I'm like testing the pieces to try and find ones that will be the right length. Sometimes you won't be able to find exactly the right length, and also you may not want to have this ledge along the whole of the top of your wall. I think I'm not going to put a wide ledge along the back of my castle. I think I will have a narrow ledge along the back, so maybe I would do something like this. It's not going to stick out at the back, I've just decided. And I definitely want another flat piece. So you see I can't find the shape that I want. This would be better. Still not quite right. Ah, no, that's not going to help either. Sometimes it is quite tricky making everything fit. sometimes you end up having to bend the rules a little bit. Okay, here we go. So, okay, so now I have my ledge that goes around the whole of my top of my castle wall. Now, do you remember at the beginning I said you are going to need lots of square 2x2 bricks to build this? Well, we used a lot of them on building the portcullis gate, but now you're going to find out what all the rest of them are for. First, we're going to want to take 1 stud wide bricks and go around the whole edge of the outside of our castle now to make like one more layer of wall. Then you're going to take those 2x2 square bricks and put them around the entire edge, leaving gaps between them so that it looks like battlements. So the next thing I wanted to do to go with our castle was to build a catapult. This is for people who are attacking the castle or to shoot out of the castle at the attackers. So here is a whole completed catapult. You can see there's a long bit in the middle, a basket to hold whatever brick we're going to throw, and then it hangs on this bit in the middle, and when you go like that, the brick shoots off into the distance. So how do we make that, and what bricks do you have at home that we can use to make that? The most important bit is the bit in the middle that allows something to swing. Now, I have a plate here with a bunch of different pieces that might work for that. So I'm going to show you, and hopefully you can find something that will work like this. Now, this is a set of wheels that have a wide Technic pin type ending. And if you find a brick with a hole in it and stick that in, this will pivot around like that. That would make an excellent center for a catapult. If you don't have something like this, you could look around, see if you have any grey Technic pins. Now, Technic pins come in a couple of different colours and shapes and so on that go with that. Black ones are exactly the same shape as this, but won't work because black ones have friction ridges on them, which mean that they hold 2 bricks together, but the bricks will not spin around. Grey ones are frictionless, which means that they will spin around when you attach 2 bricks together. So if I stick this brick with a hole onto the grey pin and this brick with a hole onto the grey pin, you can see I can spin this around, right? So those are 2 examples of things that will work. Now, here you can see this is a plate with a hole underneath it, and again, a grey pin can go into it. And if you stick it into the brick with a hole, now this whole thing will spin around. And let me see, again, another variation on the same thing. Here's a brick with a grey pin built into it. These aren't stuck into the brick, these are actually part of it. You sometimes get pieces like that. As well as bricks with holes, there are other things that have holes. These are a good example. As well as these round grey pins, it's just possible you might have grey pins like this that have a crisscross end and a round end. And those work the same way. You would put the crisscross end into a brick with a crisscross hole, and then you would put the round end into a brick with a round hole, and then those 2 bricks will spin against each other. If you don't have any of these grey pins or grey pin variants, you can still make the pivot in the middle using an axle piece. So with the axle piece, you want to have bricks with crisscross holes to hold the axle still in one place. You don't want the axle to spin, you want the bricks that are on it to spin. And then you're going to want to put your bricks with a hole onto the axle like this, and then a crisscross at the other end. And you see, I mean, you could just have 1 brick here, but I'm trying to make a base that will hold our long piece that we're going to stick on top now. So here's one example. This is based on the axle, and then here's another one using the brick that I showed you earlier, you know. So these are 2 different ways to have made a centerpiece. And now you need to find base plates to stick these onto. But they don't stick down directly, because then all the bricks would stick down. Now what you want is for the bricks that are at the sides to be fixed to the board, and the brick that is in the middle to spin. So what you need to do is find some bricks to support the side bricks and allow the middle brick to spin. So there we go. Now find yourself a long flat piece, and you're going to stick it on so that the middle of it is on, or you could decide to stick it on so that it sticks out more at one end than at the other. If you do that, if you're using a shorter plate and you want to do it that way, the end that sticks out longer is the end that your catapult holder will be, right? Because that's the next step. Is you might have at home, you might have a Lego barrel or a Lego bucket of some sort that can be stuck on the end, and then you can put whatever you want into it. But if you don't, you're just going to build on like this. Like I used 2 flats there, 2 2x4s to make a big flat square. And now I'm going to stick bricks all around the edge of that square. And I'm going to find something, this piece here will do, any piece that is flat, and you stick it into the middle so that if you're taking a square brick and putting it in here, it can't get stuck, because you don't want it to stick, you want it to fly out. And that is the catapult finished, and there you go. Hello again. I hope you had fun building your castle. Did you put anything inside it? You could build a throne, or a jail cell, or a treasure chest. There's so many things you can put inside. Were you able to get your catapult to toss bricks right into your castle? I look forward to seeing you all next week with our next Lego video. Bye!